Okay, here we go. So once again, thank you all for joining. I can see more of you popping into the webinar as we speak. So great to have you with us. As I said earlier, you are on mute. So any questions you have as we go along, pop them into the Q&A box or the chat box if you've got access to it, and we will answer as we go along. Or if not, I will try my best to come to all your questions at the end of this session. So let's get started. We're going to go through today all the details for PuraLuxe. PuraLuxe are a boutique luxury travel DMC tour operator based in Costa Rica that is dedicated just to luxury travel. So it's perfect for all of you guys that are on this call. This is perfect for you. I will go through more details later on in the webinar on PuraLuxe, their services and all the information. However, what we're going to aim to do during this session is to provide you with information, knowledge, and share the beautiful destination of Costa Rica, because understanding Costa Rica is so important for your clients and for you to understand. Today, we're going to be dedicated to helping you know what all the different areas are and all of the experiences that PuraLuxe can deliver for your clients. So before we go into the destination, just a very brief introduction on PuraLuxe. PuraLuxe is a dedicated luxury DMC, as I mentioned, headed up by the lovely gentleman you can see there in your screen called Sergio. He is the CEO of PuraLuxe, but also for Best of Costa Rica. And I'll come to that in a second. But a bit about Sergio, because he is the lifeblood behind PuraLuxe. He has been dedicated to tourism for nearly 35 years, and his goal has been to create transformative experiences within the luxury hospitality industry. He has a passion that, honestly, I've met lots of industry professionals. Sergio has got a passion and a dedication to what he does that is unparalleled with anybody I've seen, but not just to his company, but also for the beautiful country. He really lives, breathes, and he is Costa Rica, and he has that passion that he brings across to all of his fabulous team. I mentioned earlier, Sergio is the CEO of Best of Costa Rica, and Costa Rica is a leading DMC tour operator that's been in the industry now for many years. They're actually, in fact, celebrating their 12th anniversary, so congratulations to them for that. They're actually celebrating that this year. And Sergio recognized a gap in the market after being doing DMC tour operator services for so long, that there was a real need in Costa Rica to deliver what is a pure luxury dedicated service. So that's where PuraLuxe was created. PuraLuxe has been brought to life to really deliver not just the destination, but deliver luxury experiences. So that we'll come to a little bit more about PuraLuxe later on in the webinar. However, what I'm going to do now is just show you a short video just to get you really into the mood of what Costa Rica has to offer. Oh, and I believe the sound has just stopped, so give me 1 second. Let me just reshare that again. Technical hitches, eh? Just give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, we're going to try that again. So here we go, the beautiful destination of Costa Rica. So welcome to Costa Rica and obviously the experiences that PuraLuxe can deliver. You saw in that video, there is so much in the destination. I was there a few months ago and I'll refer to a few things as we go through the webinar. But it is just such a beautiful destination that really has just something for everybody. Trying to incorporate everything in that one destination into a short video was just impossible. So hopefully you've got a good idea there. So let me tell you a bit about Costa Rica. So you can see from the map there, it's bordered by Nicaragua to the north and the Caribbean Sea to the northeast. You can see in the top right-hand corner there. Panama is to the southeast with the Pacific Ocean to the southwest. Relatively small country, population of 5 million, which sounds a lot, but actually it's very well spaced out. And the country is known for its biodiversity, conservation commitments, and it's just got so much in the destination, as I mentioned. Christopher Columbus, fun fact for you, Christopher Columbus landed in 1502 near the Limon province, and Costa Rica actually means rich coast. So just another fun fact for you. Got a few of them as we go along. As I said, it's not a huge country. From a width perspective, from San Jose to Limon, so across that middle section there, the largest width-wise, you're looking at about 239 kilometers, which is about 148 miles. So it's not huge. It takes about 4.5 hours to drive across the country from that side. The length from the north to the south is from Nicaragua all the way down to Panama. It's 519 kilometers, which is about 322 miles. So to drive from one end to the other, it's about 7.5 hours. But there are two airports. The main international airport in San Jose has got direct flights from great connections, actually. Great connections with American Airlines, Delta, United and JetBlue from the States. You've also got, from the UK, you've also got flights with British Airways and various other airlines. There's also another airport which is further north, which is the Liberia airport. And again, great connections. You can get flights with American from Charlotte, from Dallas, from Miami. From further aside, you've got New York, Newark. And if you're trying to go on the other side of the US, you've got from LA. For example, LAX also flies into Liberia. So really great connections into Costa Rica itself. And as I mentioned, there was a lot of information about Costa Rica that we're going to give you, but generally speaking, the climate that we want to share with you is tropical and warm. It's Costa Rica. It's got a maximum temperature of around 31 degrees, which is 89 degrees Fahrenheit. Minimum temperature is usually around 22, which is 73 Fahrenheit. So really good tropical warmth all year round, really. The Pacific side and the Caribbean side are actually very different, and you'll see as we go through the webinar certain differences as we sort of progress through the different provinces and areas. But when you're looking at the Pacific side, you're looking at from December to April, really quite sunny. You've got the San Juan summer in mid-June, so really nice sort of time of year. May to October is really known as the wet season. The rainiest months probably on the Pacific side are September and October time, but the rains are mostly in the afternoon and the early evening. End of April and November, they're really known as what's the transitional months, where it's a little bit of a mixed bag of weather. So sort of hottest is in July and August, but in those transitional months, sort of end of April and November, it could be a little bit sort of a bit of both, a bit of everything. The Caribbean side, however, from November to January, and then again from May to August, is generally speaking more of the wet season, so it's rainy, with the rainiest months probably falling in July and December. Most of the rain in the Caribbean side is usually during the night and the early morning, so the daytimes are actually generally quite dry. February, March, September and October on the Caribbean side are generally relatively sunny. Just to give you an idea about some of the climate. So a little bit about the government. President Rodrigo, he's been in office since 2022 and he'll be there till 2026. And it is independent. It's been an independent republic since the 15th of September, 1821, when it had its independence from Spain. And it has got a multi-party political system. And it's also known as one of the most stable in the region. If you weren't aware, they actually don't have an army in Costa Rica. There is no military. That was actually abolished on the 1st of December in 1948. And interestingly, the budget that used to sustain the army in Costa Rica has now been dedicated to providing healthcare services and education to the people. So that's why you can see it's actually a very rich country in lots and lots of different ways. The economy itself, tourism is around 20% of the GDP, which was the stats in 2023, so last year. So tourism is a big part of Costa Rica and is very, very well supported. They have lots of fertile lands, strong agriculture business, pineapple, banana, coffee, palm oil. Interestingly, Costa Rica is actually the #1 exporter of pineapples in the world. Never knew that. But as you're driving through Costa Rica, you can see all the fields. And when I was there, I actually said to Marco, who was hosting us, what's all those fields? And he just went, oh, pineapple, just every day. They're also the #1 supplier of roots and tubers to the US. So the currency that's used in Costa Rica is the colon. And it has been since 1896 when it replaced the peso. The US is at the moment, and again, obviously they do vary and fluctuate with the currency conversions, but it's $1 for every 563. So when you've actually got your money, your Costa Rica colons in your hand, you have high value notes. So you'll often have 10, 20,000 colons in your hand, which makes you feel very rich. But the notes are in usually 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 and 20,000 denominations. But US dollars is also widely accepted. So if you do have clients that are going to Costa Rica that would prefer to keep their US or use US dollars, not a problem at all. So now let's delve into Costa Rica itself. So Costa Rica is divided into 7 distinct provinces. First of all, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a caveat here that I don't speak Spanish, so my pronunciation throughout this may be a little bit sketchy, but hopefully you'll still get the gist of everything that I'm saying. So the first province that you can see there, you have Guanacaste on the Northwest Pacific side, and I'm going to go through each of these different provinces and areas and explain a little bit more detail about each of them. So you can see everything from Guanacaste up in the Northwest Pacific side. You have the Puerto Arenas, #7 down the bottom, which is the largest, covering most of the Pacific coast. Then you've got some smaller provinces like Heredia, Cartago, more in the center there, which are lovely small provinces, but all have their own distinct culture, feel, ambience. And people go to each of the different provinces for different reasons. So let's go through each of them just to give you a bit of a summary. And as I say, there is a lot of information here. So you will get copies of this webinar and you will get a copy of this presentation to be able to download and refer to. And of course, you can always ask any questions. So let's start with Guanacaste in the top left-hand side of the country. It's coastal beaches throughout. And you've got some really lovely different areas such as the Gulf of Papayago, Flamingo Beach, Tamarindo, excuse me there, and then Punta Islita as you go down. So as you can see, it spans that whole coastline there. And some key facts about the region, the region itself. It covers the North Pacific, borders Nicaragua. Beautiful beaches along there. I've been to a few of them myself and they are just absolutely stunning. And being on the Pacific side, they're absolutely perfect for things like surfing. And it's got some really rich biodiversity in the flora and fauna in the Guanacaste region. Very, very popular tourist site. And it's also where the Liberia International Airport is. So I mentioned to you earlier, there's 2 airports. One of them is located in this region. So just to go through some of those key destinations, and some of your clients, these are quite well known. Some of your clients may come and say they've heard of them or want to go to these places. So I'm not going to go through each of them. You can refer back to them, but just to highlight a few of them, such as the Gulf of Papago, who's up in the top peninsula. Great for activities on the ocean, perfect for sailing, yacht charters. They've got 2 golf courses, in fact, in this area. They've got the golf course at the Four Seasons, the Arnold Palmer designed course at the Four Seasons. And they also have the Robert Trent Jones golf course at the Hacienda. So there's a couple of golf courses. So it's a great place if you've got any clients that want to do a little bit of golfing whilst in Costa Rica. Beaches that you've got, again, great for surfing, whale and dolphin watching. Some amazing restaurants along this stretch of the coastline. Tamarindo, very popular tourist area. It's somewhere which you would have possibly heard of. It's very popular. It's great for surfing. It's a bit of a surfer's paradise. They've also got their national marine park there, which is actually a protected area for turtle nesting. And there's guided tours where you can see the leatherback turtles. And it'd be interesting, I'm telling you this here for Tamarindo, but when we talk a little bit later about the Caribbean side, turtles also nest on the Caribbean side, but it's different seasons, so it's quite interesting. So on the Pacific side, the nesting is from October to February. So if you've got any clients that want to see that, that's the time to be going. And Tamarindo, with their National Marine Park, is a great place to do that. Punta Isleta is actually down in the Nicoya Peninsula, which is known as a blue zone, and I'm going to talk a little bit later about blue zones and what they are. Known for their unique lifestyle and the environment. Culture, they've got great art museums with local artists, so to pick up some really authentic gifts and souvenirs, this is a great place to go. They also do some fantastic cooking classes in Punta Isleta. Then we move around the country. So now we're moving around, so further around, and this is where we're coming to the Alajuela province, sorry. Here there's various different destinations that we're going to go through, which ranges from volcanic areas through to jungle areas. So for example, Boca Tapada is jungle, and then we've also got the popular Arenal volcano, the Poas volcano, and the mountains region, and various other key. This is a really key province within Costa Rica. The climate here is generally very humid, frequent rains, but it's a key locations with everything less than around 4 hours from the San Jose airport. So just talking about a few of those key this province, you have the Boca Tapada, which I mentioned earlier. It's about 2.5 hours from San Jose airport, and it's a jungle area that you can see towards the Caribbean coast, but it's great for wildlife, nature, bird watching. I mean, the birds in Costa Rica, the vibrancy, the colors, I guess you could say that about all the wildlife, but the birds in particular are just absolutely stunning. They've also got the eco preserve, rich for biodiversity. It's a really popular spot for anybody who's wanting the nature photography, waterfalls, hikes, canoes, kayaks, all in this region. Then we go a little bit further down, and you've got the volcano and the Celeste River. You've got the Rio Celeste is actually an amazing, you see the photo there in the bottom left-hand corner. It's actually a really interesting spot for the main biodiversity. It's got the color of the water is created because there's 2 natural chemicals that react when they hit each other. So where the 2 rivers are merging, the different minerals in the 2 different water streams create this beautiful, vibrant, turquoise blue color, and you cannot see it anywhere else in the world. It's very, very unique, these minerals where they meet. It is a volcanic region, so again, lots of volcanic region with lots of heights, springs, venture horse riding, tubing, canopy tours, and we'll mention that a few times. There's lots of places in Costa Rica where you can have that. Rio Celeste Hideaway, you can see in each of these areas that we've got preferred hotels that the PuraLuxe team work with. So these are just some examples. They work with all the hotels, all the luxury hotels in Costa Rica, but these are just some of the spotlight highlights properties that they also work with. And then we have the Arenal area with the most imposing volcano silhouette you will see. It's a real icon of Costa Rica. They've got fabulous hot springs. They've got the La Fortuna town, again, another popular area which people ask for and you'll often hear about. The Arenal Lake that you can see there just at the base of the actual volcano. Great for things like water sports, fishing, and surrounds right in that baseline. It's a real icon of Costa Rica. You see the Arenal volcano, or you see the volcano in Costa Rica, and it's usually this one, even though there are several. Just a shout out to the Nayara Resort. This is a beautiful springs resort, which is just by the volcano. So it's perfect luxury resort. It's Virtuoso affiliated. So if you've got anybody who's coming to that area, it's a great property to look at. You also have the Poas volcano, so another one of the many volcanoes on the island, in the country. 30 minutes from San Jose, so it's about 3.5 hours from Liberia. And it's one of the most famous volcanoes with a large active crater. Waterfalls around. They've also got butterfly gardens, and they've got the Doca Estate, so Costa Rican coffee. Beautiful. Anybody who's a coffee lover will know Costa Rican coffee is some of the best in the world. Doca Estate is one of the most famous coffee plantations. Moving on to the next province, slightly smaller province to the two that we've previously spoken about. And there's only really one key area in this region, and that's the Sarapiquí, which is a jungle terrain with a very tropical and humid climate. It's about 25 minutes from San Jose, about 3.5 or nearly 4 hours from Liberia. And it's got some of the largest and most biodiverse national parks in the country. It's got a vast amount of wildlife in the rainforest terrain, as well as their biological reserve, which is perfect for those guided walks, the suspension bridges, jungle trails, and you have the river, so you can do the whitewater rafting on the river here as well. Again, moving around, we're now going a little bit more inland, or we're now going inland. So this is one of the few only landlocked provinces and regions within Costa Rica. And there's 3 key areas, and these are all mountainous regions within Cartago. You have the volcano, the valley, and the further down, you then have Turrialba. And I'm sure I've said that wrong, so apologies. The climate is generally tropical and humid, as with other provinces and the other regions in Costa Rica. Mountainous region with the highest point in Costa Rica, which I'll talk about in just a second. But it is one of the smallest provinces, but it's very, very rich in its Spanish heritage and the Spanish traditions, which you'll see throughout the whole of the Cartago province. So you have the Irazu volcano, and this is the highest volcano in Costa Rica. You've got some great mountain biking and hiking trails. In fact, somebody actually said to me when we were talking about this recently, anybody going to this area for the mountain biking and hiking, just check out where you're going first, because some of those trails can be pretty challenging, but really great for those looking for that adventure type of experience. They also have strawberry farms here. So you have the Llano Grande strawberry farms, which are where you can go and pick fresh, delicious strawberries, which is not necessarily something you'd always think of with Costa Rica, but it's always great to know there's an option there. You then have the valley, which is the Orosi Valley, which is about 1.5 hours from San Jose. Great for a day of relaxation in the hot springs. You've got the national park, which is also great for the bird watching, hiking trails. And I also mentioned about the Spanish heritage earlier. And there's some of the oldest churches. In fact, one of Costa Rica's oldest churches, the Church of Orosi, is actually here in this region. And it dates back to the 18th century. And they've got a museum next door to it, which is where they've got all the colonial history if you want to go and learn a little bit more. And then you have Turrialba, which is about an hour and a half from San Jose, where you have the Pequari River. I've actually done the Pequari River rafting. It is amazing fun and just such a fantastic place to just see the beauty of Costa Rica, just get lost in the river. It's absolutely stunning. They've got rapids in this area, anything from class 2 to 5. So there's no way I went anywhere near the class 5s. I done the class 2s and it was great fun. It actually was taking us to, just another shout out for somewhere that I've stayed, is the Pequari Lodge, the experience there. And you actually get to it through either doing a zip line walkway or doing the whitewater rafting. So that's really great fun if you've got somebody who's wanted to have that real experience. So then moving into the capital. So we've got San Jose, which is the capital city of Costa Rica. It's where the international airport is, the cultural center with all the museums, theatre. The government is obviously based here, being the capital city. And they've just got so many different things within the actual city itself, whether that be shopping, the markets, the culinary options, and I'll talk a little bit in a second about those. But just outside, and you can sort of see it from the photo as well, you've got the city, but you've got all within very easy distance, you've got all the natural environment with hiking and waterfalls on your doorstep in San Jose itself. So within the actual city itself, you've got lots of different areas to look at. Just a shout out to a few of them here. You've got the National Theatre, where you can see some real cultural performances and visiting performers that come into the country. You've got the Golden Jade Museums you can see listed there. In fact, just a fun fact for you, the Jade Museum has actually got the largest collection of American jade in the world, and it's really something, a real sight to see when you see all the jade displayed together in the museum. The market, I mentioned it earlier, a great place for anything from spices to souvenirs to local crafts. You can just get so much in that central market. Various districts are from trendy areas to cultural areas, and you can really explore the Costa Rican city life, which is different to the different regions within the country. So moving around to the Caribbean coast now, we're looking at Limon. Limon is a great area. There's 3 main areas that we want to sort of highlight to you here. You've got the Puerto Viejo and Cajita. Again, I'm sorry, I've said them wrong. The beach areas, you then can go further inland where you have the mountainous region of Guasimo. And then you have Tortuguero, which is a jungle area, which is a jungle on the beach, really. It's the largest province with the Caribbean coast. So this is the real Caribbean side of Costa Rica. Vast areas of this region is protected land and national parks. So you have lots of wildlife, and you'll see as we go through a few of the spotlight areas. Real Caribbean atmosphere. I live in St. Lucia. I love the Caribbean side of life, and this really comes across on this side of Costa Rica. Whether that be the food, the calypso music, the reggae music, you've got a real vibrant Caribbean atmosphere. Dense jungles, mountains, but alongside all of that, you have the traditional Caribbean beautiful beaches. So starting on, just to highlight a couple of the key areas, you've got the Southern Caribbean side of Puerto Viejo and Cajita, which is about 4 hours from San Jose itself. And as I said, this is on the Southern Caribbean side. They've got real differences in their beaches here. You've actually got a black beach, which has got volcanic sand. You've got the Punta Uva and Chiquita Beach, which are golden sand. So you've got a real mixture of the different beaches here. And again, the wildlife is something which is really prominent in this area. Portuguero, very popular tourist area. It's one of the areas which is often requested. Famous for its canals. I mean, look at that photo. It's just absolutely stunning. So it's perfect for turtle nesting. I mentioned earlier about the Pacific side. On the Caribbean side, it's slightly different. So on the Caribbean side, it is green turtles as opposed to the Pacific side, which are more the leatherbacks and hawksbills. And the nesting season over this side is from July to October. So it's a little bit earlier than what you find it on the Pacific side. So you can explore this region with kayaks on a boat, venture your way down these canals. Great for wildlife, as you can imagine. Monkeys, you've got various different monkeys, the howler monkeys you can hear from miles away. Birds. Sometimes the manatees will, if you're lucky enough, they'll pop their heads up and say hi. And you have a real taste of local life in the village with the restaurants and souvenir shops in this area. And then you have Puerto Arenas. So now we're moving further down to the last province. This is the largest province, and we've got 6 areas that we want to highlight to you here. The first of which is one of my favorites, and I believe I've also been told it's one of Sergio's favorite areas as well in the country, which is Monteverde. You have Echo Beach, the Nicoya Peninsula, going down to Manuel Antonio. These are all names you probably have heard of because they're very popular areas, and you'll see why as we go through each of them. The national park, and then we go right down to the bottom peninsula, which is the Osa Peninsula and the Gulf of Dute beach areas. The climate in this area is tropical, often humid. Largest province covering pretty much most of the Pacific coastline, as you can see there on the map. Huge biodiversity hotspot with ecotourism, especially in the Osa Peninsula, but it's a very ecotouristic province and region in this whole of this Pacific coastline here. And the terrain ranges, it's such a large area. The terrain does range from the mountains, jungle, and of course the beaches. So I want to first share with you my favorite area in the whole country, Monteverde. It is absolutely wonderful. The cloud forest here is absolutely spectacular. It's got amazing ecosystems, and you are in and out of the clouds, as the name suggests, the cloud forest. You are a forest and you are in and out of the clouds. It actually has an elevation of about 1,500 to 1,800 meters. For you who like it in feet, that's 4,900 to 5,900 feet. And that's above sea level. So you're pretty high up. Loads of hiking, night walks in this region, zip line, suspension bridges. We actually done zip line up in this region, and it's just so amazing. We're actually, when you go off on the zip line, you start in the clouds and you're going through the clouds. You can't even see the end of the zip line. It is quite scary for the first couple of times, but then it's just absolutely amazing as you're just soaring through the clouds itself. It's fabulous. Talking a bit about the wildlife, butterfly and orchid gardens are here. There's actually the highest concentration of orchids in the world in Costa Rica. There's actually over 1,400 species of orchids, and 500 of them are only found in the Costa Rican cloud forest. So if you get a chance to go to the orchid gardens, it really is something quite special. I also want to have a special mention to Chira Glamping, which is an amazing glamping like no other. I've done glamping in various places in the world, and it just really is something special. You are in the clouds, you are in the forest, and you're just in this most amazing, I'm not even going to call it a tent, but it is a tent, location. And the photo you can see in the background there is actually the San Lucas dining experience, which is in the same complex. And this is the glass cubes, I suppose you'd call them, which are suspended in the middle of this cloud forest jungle. Really, really special area. So if you get the chance to go, as you can hear, talk very passionately about it. It's one of my favourite places. Then you have going down, I mean, all of it's beautiful, just to point out. Echo Beach is about 2 hours from San Jose. It's Great for the ATV tours, going across the rivers, climbing the mountains. Great for adventure. Really, really is a great place for adventure. Also has the canopy tour, the zip lines. Great nightlife, lively bars, restaurants, live music, and they also do lots of riverboat tours. And you might be lucky enough to see the odd crocodile pop their heads up. So great area to go to. And then we head down to the Nicoya Peninsula, and this is a very, very popular area. There really is just so much to do. It's got beautiful pristine beaches, forests, the rainforest, and most notably, it's actually known as it's actually got a status, should I say, as a blue zone. And for those of you who are not familiar, a blue zone is a region, there's only a few of them in the world. There's only 5 actually, in fact, in the world. And a blue zone is where people are claimed to have exceptionally long lives beyond the age of 80. So it's where they live the longest. The average life expectancy in Nicoya, for example, is around 80 years. And just to put that into perspective, in the US, it's 72 years average life expectancy. So it gives you an idea of the differences. And they have the world's lowest rate of middle-age mortality. And there's only, as I said, 5 of them in the world. Costa Rica, Italy, Greece, California, and Japan. And I have got that written down because I can't even remember it. But Costa Rica has got a blue zone, which is, as I say, very, very unique. I was reading an article recently, and they said that the water has the highest rate of calcium, so it lowers the heart disease, as well as stronger bones and less hip fractures and things. So, great area to go to. Lots of heritage, great towns. We've got some of the oldest towns in Costa Rica. And it's also, because it's a blue zone, but also because of the region, it's perfect for yoga, wellness, retreats, workshops, or just individual well-being vacations. It's just a really great all-round part of the world. And then we'll go to the popular Manuel Antonio. So this is, again, a very popular area which people will talk about. It's on the Central Pacific region, and it's a blend of rainforests and beaches. As I said, very popular tourist region. They've got the national park where you can see the hikes. You've got howler monkeys, sloths, iguanas. So lots of wildlife to see there. Great for adventure, ATV tours, zip lines, hanging bridges. And again, a bit like in Monteverde and various other areas, you've got the hiking, night walks, and great ways to explore the beaches and the waterfalls. And now we move on to the final area that we're going to look at, and that's Puerto Arenas. And this has got the number of different areas here, which is in the South Pacific region. The South Pacific region has a domestic, so this is further down, and it has a domestic airport, which is the Drake Bay Airport, which is DRK on the airport codes, and it's about 45 minutes from San Jose by plane, or about an 8-hour drive. So if you have somebody going down to the peninsula, it's actually quite good just to get that domestic flight down, unless they're doing a bit of a trip and a stop off on the way and taking that 8-hour drive and seeing all the sights along the way. Has the only tropical primary lowland rainforest in the world, making it one of the most stunning locations in Costa Rica. There's over 41,000 hectares, which is about 100,000 acres in this area, in this national park type area. And in that, there's about 140 species of mammals, 400 species of birds, 116 species of reptiles and amphibians. There is just so much. See, they've got 500 species of trees, for example. There's just so much to see. It's where you'll also see things like the red-eyed tree frog that you often see, jaguars, monkeys, sloths. So it really is a biodiverse hotspot in Costa Rica. They've got the sea with the whale and dolphins, and during the migrations of the migrations you can see from August to October and December to April. So again, a great spot to go to. You've also got the Osa Peninsula, just for your reference. The National Geographic magazine actually called the Osa Peninsula one of the most biologically intense places on Earth. And that was because of the variety of ecosystems there, the variability of the conditions, the different rainfall, temperatures. And there's just, like I say, there's just so much to see. I mentioned earlier about the wildlife, this is the area to go for jaguars. It's got the largest population of jaguars in Costa Rica. So there's so much. I mean, there's so many fun facts I could give you about this region, but the best thing is go and see it. It's amazing. So that is the country, and I know time's pushing on, so I'm just going to now go through why we're all here. We're here to learn about PuraLuxe and all of those amazing experiences and all of those fabulous places that I've just shown you in Costa Rica can all be obtained by PuraLuxe. So as I mentioned earlier, they are a boutique luxury travel company based in Costa Rica. And they really are dedicated to planning each trip with the utmost care, attention, detail. They're all about getting the right experience for your clients and providing the best luxury experiences. They really want to be the goal of who their goal is really to be the person you go to, the most trusted Costa Rican DMC partner for luxury travel. And they have a real commitment to making sure that everything they provide is the best experience, but also there's a lot of commitment to sustainability, and they have a huge value in sustainable tourism. As an example, they have now just gone purely paperless, so everything's digitalized. There's a huge commitment to sustainability and sustainable tourism as well. So PuraLuxe have got a number of core-rooted values to share with you. Why would you use PuraLuxe? Why book with them? I mentioned before about the personalized experiences, and this is tailoring every single guest experience to the interests of them, rather than having a packaged off-the-shelf type of program. So with especially, I mean, you all deal with luxury travel. It's all about making sure that it's the perfect experience, and that's what they do. Their attention to detail, they take care of the little things. So everything, they've got the accommodation, transfers, experiences, everything is all taken care of, and their attention to detail is what really sets them apart. Exclusive access, their knowledge. I mentioned earlier about their experience in the destination, but finding those hidden gems that are not always available. If you say to them, my client really likes XYZ, they're going to find an experience that maybe not something which is just an off-the-shelf package. It's something a little bit out of the ordinary, which is really going to deliver an experience. And that leads us on to that expert guidance. Their dedicated team, they've got deep-rooted knowledge in Costa Rica. They've got Sergio's passion. They know about the geography, the logistics. And the logistics in Costa Rica can sometimes be part of the challenge as well, trying to work out how to get to see the most of the destination. So their expert guidance is really something which is second to none. Stress-free planning, all of the above, everything we've mentioned before is all about making sure that the planning process is as simple, as straightforward, and as easy. Let them have the headaches. They're the experts. This is what they do. You tell them what your clients are looking for, they make it happen within reason. It's all about making sure that complex planning, logistics, and taking care of everything is all done in one place, making it easy planning for you, which means it's easy planning for your clients. And finally, the unparalleled luxury. They know what a luxury experience is. They know how to get the VIP treatment. They work with the partners that are going to deliver those private transfers. They work with the best hotels. It's all about making sure that that unparalleled luxury experience that you're promising your clients is delivered when they arrive in Costa Rica. And finally, I mentioned earlier, they're not about off-the-shelf packages. They're about making sure that everything's personalized. There are, however, some sample itineraries which is on their website. They're also on their page on our travel portal, which you'll see if you sign into the Hummingbird travel portal. And this is just to more give you an idea as to what can be done in, for example, 7 nights in Costa Rica. They're not necessarily, you can say, I want package, but it's more just to give you a guideline about how things can work and what they can do. Whilst I'm talking about how to book and how they put things together, just so you know, they can work on two ways, whichever is your preference. If you would like to get net rates, they can give you net rates, you can put the markup on, great. Or they can work on commission, so they'll give you your gross rates, and then their commission varies between 12 to 15% for registered travel advisors. So that is everything about, in a nutshell, on Costa Rica and the fabulous PuraLuxe. I want to sort of thank you all again. Pura Vida, I've probably said that, Pura Vida. Thank you so much for joining us today. And let me now go through some of these questions that I have for you. And I'll answer some of these questions for you. Give me 1 second just to pull those up. Okay. Katie, yes. Okay, so I just mentioned about the commissions. So they do commissions 12 to 15% depending on the experience, time of year, and various other things. They have a team. Yeah, they have a team that will be dedicated to delivering those for you. James, can you get access to information? Absolutely. So I mentioned before, we're going to send you a recording of this webinar, so you'll see all the questions and information from here. I'll also send you a link to the portal, which is the Travel Advice portal. I think most of you looking at who's with us, most of you are already in that, but you can download information such as this presentation, like for a fact sheet reference. And you can also, if you want any images to help sell the destination, I can send those to you as well. That's no problem at all. Okay. So Anna, you mentioned about fans. Yes, absolutely. So we can do fans. Fan trips that we have come up. We're actually going to be we're planning one for next year very soon. So we should be announcing dates at some point in the next month or so. We're going to be looking at doing a fan next year to bring as many of you over as we can. Whilst you're waiting for that, so keep an eye on our Travel Advisor portal, and we'll put the dates up and invite you to express your interest soon for the fan trip. However, if you are going to the destination and you are looking at visiting, the team at PuraLuxe can also do individual fan trips. So if you are looking at visiting to experience some of these amazing places yourself, let us know, reach out to us, and we'll connect you with the team, and they can organise a one-on-one almost individual trip for you as well, with agent rates and special fan itineraries for you. So absolutely. So whether it's a group fan, which we're going to be organising for next year, or whether or not it's an individual trip, let us know. We can certainly work with you on that. And they do have agent rates that they can offer you. So no, PuraLuxe hasn't been going for 12 years. PuraLuxe is new to the market. PuraLuxe has come from the Best of Costa Rica. So Best of Costa Rica is now currently celebrating their 12th anniversary. So they have been rooted in the industry for quite some time now, and they are the ones who have devised this whole concept of PuraLuxe, which is all about luxury travel planning. So they recognise that there was a gap in the market. Nobody was really delivering luxury experiences or really delivering it to what you guys expect them to deliver. So that's why PuraLuxe has come to the market this year. So that's possibly why you haven't heard of them before. I'm glad that obviously you're here to learn about them. And like I say, they will be delivered. Their whole concept is about luxury travel. So this is what these guys do, because it's what you guys do. Okay. So once again, commission, I'll just say it one more time, commission is between 12 to 15%. The commission can be done either based on commission rates, or they can offer, I've just seen a couple of you have asked, can you do net rates too? Yes, you can do net rates, or like I say, the commission between 12 to 15%, no problem at all. Okay, great. Well, look, once again, thank you all so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking the time to learn about Costa Rica, introduce you to the fabulous PuraLuxe. We will be sending you a follow-up email, which has got links to the recording, which will probably come in the next day or so once we've uploaded and got the recording. We'll also give you an introduction to the team at PuraLuxe, so you've got a direct contact for them for anything you need. But of course, myself and my team at Hummingbird are always here to support you. So let us know if there's anything you need. And once again, thank you. Hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, depending on where in the world you are. And we look forward to connecting with you all again on our next webinar soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you again. Bye-bye.